Welcome, I'm Waris Mohammed and you're watching our English news program on Somaliland National Television. And now, let's start with the headlines. Somaliland Foreign Minister receives the Swedish delegation. Somaliland Armed Forces complete their 6-month training program. Greece car bomb blast outside Central Bank building before bond markets return. Somaliland Minister of Foreign Affairs received the Swedish delegation at his office to discuss many areas of concern for both nations. This delegation consisted of a group of diplomats and government officials from that country, alongside the Swedish envoy for the Horn of Africa, which were led by Somaliland and Somalia's ambassador in Sweden. After hours in a closed meeting, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohammed Bihi Yunus, briefed the media about the results of that meeting, and he stated that the purpose of this meeting was to discuss methods for the Swedish government to take a role in Somaliland development funding, designed as the main location for foreign communities to provide any assistance. The minister also mentioned that they discussed methods of strengthening relations between the two nations regarding the already efficient collaboration Sweden government provides for Somaliland and the future cooperation plans the Swedish government has offered to provide to Somaliland in terms of the upcoming elections and improving the media sector as well. The minister eventually concluded with stating that the government of Somaliland will soon be invited to Sweden by the Swedish government to discuss many areas of concern for the two nations. Chief of Somaliland Armed Forces Gas Ismail Shaqale concluded a training program for the first class of armed forces, completing the training. Somaliland Chief of Armed Forces in Dararweyne Gas Ismail Shaqale and a number of officials from the Custodial Corps, Road Forces and the Presidency's Army collectively concluded the 6-month training program for Somaliland's armed forces. Chief of Armed Forces stated that they are strongly working on the best ways to improve the functioning of the Institute of Training for the Armed Forces of Somaliland. The chief continued expressing his gratitude for the great efforts the armed forces continue to make in terms of better protecting Somaliland and its people, and commended them for completing this training program successfully. Officials speaking at the event also stated that this training program consisted of different programs to improve the overall work of the armed forces in Somaliland, and mentioned that they were in need of such developmental training programs. Eventually, the first class of graduates were handed over honorary certificates for the completion of this program. Health servants sent to Sarar region by the Ministry of Health already started the vaccination efforts in that region. Somaliland Ministry of Health in cooperation with the Red Crescent started their tour around Sarar region to vaccinate the residents after they had received calls about the spread of some diseases. Sarar Regional Coordinator, alongside other health officials in that region, briefed the media on the recent updates of their tour, and they continued expressing their appreciation for the chance to help these people and pledged to provide any further assistance needed. And they continued expressing their appreciation for the chance to help these people and pledged to provide any further assistance needed. The officials also mentioned a shortage of water in some remote areas in that region, urging the people of Somaliland to provide assistance as soon as possible, stating that drinking from unclean waters is among some of the main causes of diseases. You're still watching the English news program on Somaliland National Television, and now for the international headlines in detail. Ukraine's acting president has offered an amnesty to pro-Russian protesters who have seized government buildings in the east of the country. Alexander Turchinov said he guaranteed they would not be persecuted if they voluntarily surrendered weapons and gave up the premises. He added that he had spoken by phone with demonstrators who have taken over a security service building in Luhansk, but they have rejected the offer. The terms offered are unacceptable to us. They are promising clemency in exchange for our giving up our weapons. This is not appropriate for us, said Sergei Kuronsky, one of the protest leaders. The offer is understood also to apply to protesters in Donetsk who are occupying the main regional government headquarters. The first Deputy Prime Minister Vitaly Yarema, sent to the city to solve the crisis, said on Wednesday night that he hoped demonstrators would leave during the day, but some pro-Russian activists show no sign of giving up. My mood is just fabulous. This is the Russian spring and it's continuing. We've stood firm for a fourth night and everybody is in a fabulous mood, said Alexander, one of the demonstrators. The 48-hour ultimatum by pro-European authorities in Kiev for protesters to leave buildings or face forced runs out on Friday. Pro-Russian activists have continued to ignore it and reinforce barricades. Separatists are openly calling on Russia's President Putin to intervene. Security camera footage is being scrutinized after a car bomb exploded at dawn outside a Greek central bank building in Athens. No one was hurt, but windows were smashed in the blast and Greece prepared its return to international bond markets on Thursday. Police believe leftist or anarchist guerrilla groups were behind the blast at the Bank of Greece office in the heart of the capital, with government buildings and embassies nearby. Of course, it's illogical, but I think it's also a form of protest against everything, Athens resident said. It's not right, of course, but what can I say? What can I say? People's minds are, uncontrollable, other residents said. Of course, it's not pleasant, added fellow Athens dweller Mary Scorsese. It's not pleasant, it's rather worrying. The car was stolen. Someone was seen running away from it before the blast. Warning calls were made to the media, reportedly saying that around 70 kilos of explosives were used. Reports says that police are linking the blast outside offices of the country's highest banking institution with Greece's return to the bond markets for the first time in 4 years. Security forces have been placed on alert that this terrorist act happened just 24 hours before the German Chancellor Angela Merkel is due to arrive in the Greek capital, he said. That's all the news for now. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow at the same time. Until then, goodbye.